All right, folks, welcome back to PrepperNow on the Crisis Report. This is your Crisis Report for August 2nd, 2025. We're going to be talking today about some threats that are happening from the president, and he and Medvedev of Russia have basically been exchanging words. And so now, because of some nuclear rhetoric, we are parking nuclear subs around the world in response. Other things, India has responded to the tariffs and stuff, and we are just going to tell you all about it. We are brought to you by Augusta Precious Metals. There's an affiliate link in the description if you are possibly considering putting your IRA into physical metals. Basically, the way it works is they take it, they become stewards of your metals, and then when you're ready for those, you get them. And so it's just a way to invest in precious metals. Then that is the company to go to. We're sponsored by them for good reason. Okay, here we go. This is your Crisis Report for August 2nd, 2025. Trump has called into question today's jobs report. The president says the U.S. official is fired because he thinks that they faked the employment data. Megaquake off Russia's coast has detected over 4,700 miles away in Binghamton, New York, showcasing the vast reach of seismic waves, meteorologist Howard Mange has said, Daily Mail. Trump says he has positioned nuclear submarines near Russia for the protection of the people. Illinois has become the first state to mandate universal mental health assessments for public schools students, according to ABC. Kamala Harris says she's not interested in pursuing politics at the moment, claiming the system is too broken. Norway's 54-year-old COVID jab chief, Berg, has died suddenly. Pediatrician led the nation's rollout. According to Bloomberg, the FBI has reportedly redacted President Trump's name from the files of Mr. Epp to the you-know-what. President Trump has deployed 2 nuclear submarines in appropriate regions in response to highly provocative statements made by former Russian President Medvedev. Police officers in Colorado are now being disciplined for helping ICE locate illegal new neighbors. Representative Anna Paulina Luna is calling on NASA to launch an investigation into a potential alien interstellar object identified by Harvard astronomer Avi Loeb. Prince Andrew is being advised to appear before Congress and testify under oath about his connections to the Jeffrey guy who did not unalive himself, or so they say. Massive squid-shaped UFO was seen hovering in the skies over Dallas, Texas. This was caught by, just people on a telescope. It was green. It was weird. Senior Israeli defense officials assess that Iran is in advanced talks to obtain Chinese air defenses and fighter jets and is planning to launch a surprise attack in the future on Israel. Current break in fighting is merely a tactical pause by both sides. U.S. dollar has lost nearly 30% of its purchasing power since 2020. 1/3 of our savings have been destroyed in half a decade, the silent destruction of a generation. Iran plans to abandon the GPS and replace with China Beidou system. Recent reports in the Mideast regional media say that Iran is actively exploring abandoning GPS technology and instead adopting China's main navigation satellite system, Beidou. Such a drastic change can't be accomplished overnight. However, as the world's dominant system, GPS has long been embedded in Iranian industries and technology. U.S. Senate sees historic support for blocking Israeli arms sales. Growing number of U.S. lawmakers, mostly Democrats, backed a resolution to halt weapons sales to Israel over its actions in Gaza, though the bill, introduced by Senator Bernie Sanders, failed in a 27-20 vote. Rights advocates hailed it as a significant shift in democratic attitudes. 27 Democrats supported blocking rifle shipments to Israel. Second bill targeting bomb transfers failed 24-73. Rights groups view this as growing dissent over Israeli conduct in Gaza. Texas is still in a drought. AI data centers are quietly guzzling up the water. White paper released last month. HARC estimates the data centers in Texas will consume 49 billion gallons of water in 2025. They also project that by 2030, the numbers could rise up to 399 billion gallons, or 6.6% of total water used in Texas. Most data centers use an evaporative cooling system in which the server's heat is absorbed by water. The heat is then removed from the water through evaporation, causing the water to be lost as vapor in the air. Cooler water then goes back through the machines, and this loop is regularly topped off with fresh water. After all, evaporation renders the water saltier and unusable after 4 or 5 cycles. Then they dump the water, and it goes down the sewer. Water loss is significant when, even after the devastating flooding earlier this month, nearly a quarter of the state remains in a drought condition. Trump initially demanded that Europe commit to purchasing energy resources from the U.S. worth $1 trillion, according to Politico. Final price was about $750 billion. However, this is completely exaggerated and unrealistic, because to reach this level, the U.S. would have to redirect all its energy exports to the EU and then somehow find 50% more goods for supply. Same time, the EU would effectively have to abandon other foreign suppliers, including those offering cheaper energy, and more than triple imports from the U.S. It's just not possible. Cartel members fought in Ukraine to learn FPV drone skills, obtaining hands-on experience in how to employ FPV drones as weapons in Ukraine could radically speed up the learning curve for Mexican cartels. President Trump's approval rating among white Americans has dropped to -2, lowest point ever, according to a recent YouGov poll. Switzerland in shock at 39% U.S. tariff blow. New duty level on Swiss goods, one of the highest in the world, and exceeds 31% rate outlined by Donald Trump in April. The Swiss government has denounced Trump's decision to impose a 39% tariff on the country, a steep rate that sent the Swiss franc sliding on Friday, left lawmakers in shock as how to respond. It is unclear what the U.S. wants from us, said the Swiss lawmaker, who added it was unfair to say the government was in a state of shock. Scientists have discovered a giant new species of stick insect in Australia. It's over 15 inches long. Researchers say it may be the heaviest insect in the country. It is gross. After the UK's Online Safety Act and Australia's decision to restrict much of the social media to teenagers, European Union plans to take it a step further. 2 countries and implement AI scanning tools to read the private and public group chats of European users and look for other smut and things that are bad about, especially centered around children. European Union wants to adopt by October 14th the final draft of the Chat Control Act, which is marketed just like the one act in the UK's Online Safety Act. Australia ban on teenagers from using social media apps that is being done to protect the children, air quotes. European Commission's premise with this act is that all European citizens are closeted baddies who regularly share nasty smut in their private conversations, and thus everything must be verified by the state to make sure that it is the premise, not confirmed. Not only does the EU want to implement this AI group chat scan tool, it wants to implement everything that the UK and Australia did, like mandatory age verification upon login, social media bans for teens, etc. End-to-end encryption apps in the EU would stop working as a result of the tech company not complying with the regulation and would be broken entirely upon compliance. Unlike the UK and Australia, the EU wants social media companies to have AI scan tools not only for smut, but also automatically report it to the police. Hashing tools, which are already in use by law enforcement and most tech companies to identify this crap, give way too many false positives to the proportion of 1/5 of those messages. EU also wants internet providers to block certain URLs from outside the EU upon request from national authorities. Currently, there's no consensus amongst EU countries on how far this bill would go, with some concessions being made that users can refuse to have their conversations scanned, but will then lose the ability to upload pictures, videos, or audio files, and also won't be able to receive any. Consensus on the matter is being expected to be reached by October 14th, end of 2025. A final draft should be ready. Governments of Belgium, Czech Republic, Estonia, Finland, Germany, Greece, Slovenia, Luxembourg, and Romania haven't decided if they support this bill or not. Only Austria, Poland, and the Netherlands oppose the bill. European Court of Justice banned migrant deportations. Groundbreaking ruling. CJEU prohibits national government from deporting migrants to their home country or third-party safe countries unless national governments follow a complex procedure with criteria set by the European Union. Criteria for declaring the countries safe for deportations for the CJEU wants to be respected when the national governments must look whether or not the person they want to deport can assert his or her rights effectively, and the information for that must be made available for judicial review, meaning the deportation orders will be subject to censure by a judge who can decide to override that order and stop the deportation the judge considers the country unsafe. Europe is continually going to become a critocracy, as it's called, KRIT, just like America and other places. These are places that are ruled by judges and their whims and their adherence to the progressive fascist doctrine. Ghislaine Maxwell's new minimum security prison prohibits cameras and other recording devices. She's scheduled for congressional deposition that has been indefinitely postponed. Nicaragua becomes first member of the United Nations to officially recognize the Russian-controlled parts of Ukraine as Russian territory. France has blasted the U.S. in Gaza aid program. France has accused the U.S.-run Gaza Humanitarian Fund, GHF, of bloodshed and demands the program to cease operations. People, including children and others, have been taken up while waiting for food. Trump, outraged by Medvedev, decided to deploy nuclear submarines. Based on Medvedev's provocative remarks, he said, "I've ordered 2 nuclear subs to the appropriate regions, just in case his words are more bluster." Trump, about the deployment of nuclear submarines, said, "A threat was made by a foreign president of Russia, and we are going to protect our people." Trump also said that they are ready for a nuclear war. Trump says the U.S. is fully prepared for nuclear war. 111 years ago today, August 1st, or yesterday, 1914, Germany declared war on Russia, a pivotal moment in the July crisis, and plunged Europe into World War I. Yahya has entered the UK's top 100 baby names for first time in 2024. Ranked number 93 with 583 babies named Yahya, jumped 33 spots from 2023. Muhammad is still number 1, followed by Noah, Oliver, some point to Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar, according to the BBC. U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham to Russia says, "Trump is not Obama, he is not Biden, and he will not be trifled with. You are overplaying your hand," end quote. U.S. Ambassador to NATO Matt Whitaker says Trump will hit Russia with devastating tariffs and sanctions on August 8th. Russia is not going to have any friends. They are not going to have any trading partners, and their ability to fund this war will end. Corporation for Public Broadcasting will shut down after Congress cut its $1.1 billion funding ending support for NPR and PBS in local stations. Most staff will be laid off by September, full closure January 2026. Over $1.1 trillion was erased from U.S. stock market on Friday, August 1st. Trump on the jobs report said, "We're doing well. I believe the numbers were phony, so I fired her," end quote. Daily Mail expose revealed that controversial right-wing influencer Eric Orval, known for his tough stance on degeneracy and attempts to build a Caucasian-only community in Arkansas, starred in adult videos with his wife and live stream them. This has become kind of a big thing with them. Honestly, I think he will survive this, but they are going after him and trying to do everything they can to, just sully his name. And you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't live stream your love making with your wife ever. Australia to ban YouTube accounts for under 16s as part of a world first social media restrictions. Trump says India will stop buying oil from Russia, which means Australia will be left with no oil. Meanwhile, Indian authorities confirm that they have not given the instructions to stop purchasing oil from Russia, TASS reports. European Court of Justice rules that Spain's wind farm permitting process in Galicia complies with EU law, resolving a dispute with environmental group Petón del Lobo. Nearly 100 wind projects in Galicia stalled due to the litigation and now in progress. Galicia's 186 operational wind farms contribute 13% of Spain's total wind capacity. Alligator Alcatraz illegals are on a hunger strike for the 10th day. Quote, "I'm not going to eat another plate of food until they show us respect," end quote. Putin is going to get a pair of elephants as a gift from the Laos president. Federal Appeals Court rules that Musk's ex face a negligence claim for failing to report a video of explicit images of underage people. POTUS orders 2 nuclear subs repositioned to response to threats from Russia. U.S. Navy submarine fleet includes 14 ballistic missile subs, 4 guided missile subs, and 50 fast attack subs. Ohio-based SSBNs are the most survivable leg of our nuclear triad. Supreme Court is rehearing Louisiana versus Calais and considering ending race-based congressional districts. Analysis, quote, "Cannot stress to you enough how earth-shattering it would be for the Supreme Court to strike down Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. The electoral cornerstone of the post-war liberal consensus would be gone overnight, and with it the Democrat Party's ability to contest the House of Representatives as we know it. Between this and the potential mid-decade redistricting in a few other GOP-controlled states, Democrats would not be able to flip back the House of Representatives even if they ruthlessly gerrymandered every Republican out of California." And the UK's Energy Secretary refuses to publish details of green energy deal with China. And not on here, but the Democrats are now, again, the largest party by party affiliation out there. But that will change. All right, friends, that is your crisis report for August 2nd, 2025. Please share this out, hit the like button and everything else. I don't know if you watched Poplar's video from yesterday afternoon. It's an important one because he details all the crazy crap going on these platforms. If you haven't been worried by the stuff going on in Australia and overseas in Europe, do note that there is a full online press to suppress all of the information you get, so it only comes from official places, and you are basically blind as to what's really going on. For that, we appreciate you. We're brought to you by Augusta Precious Metals. Check out all the links in the description. Join us on Substack, where the information will never stop, and we will keep going, if at least from there, but we'll keep going here too. We sincerely appreciate you all. I'll have another report tonight. We are traveling, and we're at my folks' house. So God bless you all. Really appreciate the patronage. Really appreciate everything, and we will see you on the next one. Have a great day.